Listen, people were frustrated to find out that cities in eastern Canada are saying it's going to take weeks, not days, to remove snow from the streets and roads after being hit by 2 winter storms. In Toronto, it's leaving people frustrated as they try and get around the city.
My question is why they're starting here and not at the border of Toronto, Victoria Park, and Bingham, and then Kingswood, because now we have several blocks that are still undone. And according to
the city of Toronto is starting its snow removal efforts, after receiving 53 centimeters of snow over 10 days. The work is going to be done in 4 phases. It is going to last up to 3 weeks. Those frustrations have been echoed by Toronto City Councillor Brad Bradford. He's made his way through his snowy street to our studio this morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, what is your neighborhood like?
Well, it's not great. I think a lot of the streets in Toronto right now are characterized by massive snow mounds. You've got street parking in lots of parts of the old city of Toronto.
Yeah.
And so 2-lane streets have effectively become a 1-lane street, and you're rolling the dice anytime you turn a corner because there's a bit of a face-off with the cars in the neighborhood right now. So people are really frustrated by that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it on the show this morning. Why 3 weeks, Brad?
Well, it's unacceptable. You know, the reality is we are a winter city. This should not have caught Toronto by surprise, and it felt like leadership was asleep at the switch for a couple days. We had an opportunity. We are now 11 days into these large snow events. If you go back to Super Bowl Sunday, we had another big dump midweek last week, and on Friday there was a great opportunity to start snow removal, but here we are 11 days in, and the city only started that effort yesterday. So folks are rightly frustrated when the city comes out and says it could be another 21 days to get the streets cleaned up. These are basic core services in any municipality, and it comes in the context where Mayor Chow has increased taxes 25% over the past 3 years. So I've been hearing from folks that are really upset that they are paying more, getting less. The basics in the city of Toronto are not getting done. I think that's unacceptable.
What is the plan? I mean, we are still in winter. So I was talking to Kelsey this morning, and our meteorologist says we're getting at least 2 more systems in the next 10 days or so. So if we can't even get rid of the last system's snow, what are we going to do with this new snow?
It's a huge problem. And again, corporate communications has been that we should be taking the TTC. And I know a lot of Torontonians are trying to do that. The problem is the TTC.
You can't get there.
And the TTC was not running over the weekend. We had major shutdowns on Saturdays, disruptions on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And yesterday they were not able to get the trains out of the barn on time. So you had 10-minute intervals during rush hour. And all of that just really amplifies the chaos on Toronto's streets. And so, we have to pick a struggle. If we can't get the snow off the streets, then we certainly need to make sure that the TTC trains are running on time. And I think all of that, whether you're trying to get your kids to daycare in the morning or you're a senior trying to get around the neighborhood on a mobility device, it means that the city is not keeping up with the basics, and Torontonians are frustrated by that.
Listen, this is not new snow for us, right? And we're not talking about calling in the army, but back in 2022, there was a similar amount of snow. So what did we do then that we're not doing now?
Well, that's a good point. In 2022, we had a singular snow event that was actually more than any of the events that we've had over the past 11 days. And within 6 days, the city of Toronto had removed 17,000 tons of snow. We are now at, as of yesterday, day 10, and we hadn't even started removing snow. So I think it comes down to focus and prioritization, accountability at the top. We haven't seen that. But at the end of the day,
who makes that call? Like, who's the one who's looking at it saying we're going to need to get snow off the streets because this much is coming? Who makes that call?
Well, to me, it would be the mayor, and we have heard very little from her until yesterday, where she came out and made the joke about not calling in the army. But I would suggest this is not a laughing matter for Torontonians. And again, just dropping my girls off at daycare yesterday, trying to traipse them over the snowbanks, the chaos with all the cars that drop off, people trying to move strollers around. It's making the city unlivable. And these are the sort of basic things that we need to be able to do as a functioning winter city. We've done it better before. I know it's not perfect. We were all out shoveling for hours on the weekend. People understand that. But now 11 days on, and the city hasn't even started the removal until yesterday, people are angry about that. And, I share that frustration as someone who's trying to get around the city and get the kids to daycare and get into the office. It's not sustainable.
Listen, these are new frustrations for you and I, but there's a lot of people in this city who use mobility aids or don't have a vehicle, and they deal with struggle getting around the city enough. Now we're adding snow on top of it. Here's my question at City Council. Why isn't accessibility more of a priority when we're talking about snow removal? There are people who are locked in their houses because they can't get out.
That's right, and they've been there for days. They can't get up and down the street. You get to an intersection where the sidewalks are meeting, and there's massive windrows and snow that hasn't been cleared. This needs to be a priority. The city a number of years ago did expand its sidewalk clearing capacity into the old downtown. We secured some additional equipment that was smaller to fit into some of those tight spaces, but the reality is we did not remove any snow last week when we had the opportunity. So you can plow it, but you're effectively just pushing it around. Until you start removal operations, there's no space and capacity to put that snow. And so that this problem has really been exacerbated by a lack of action last week, and now we're all dealing with it.
Where's all the snow going?
There are 8 sites in the city of Toronto that you will see dump trucks on the street right now with big snow blowers pumping that snow into those dump trucks.
Yeah.
So 8 sites that they're taking it across the city to sort of store that snow in the interim.
Yeah.
But it continues to be a challenge. And I would just suggest a lack of leadership and accountability last week to make that call, to put that operation into action, has now left us in a really difficult situation this week with more snow on the horizon.
Brad Bradford is a Toronto City Councillor for Ward 19. I'm going to let you try and get back onto your street, and hopefully you don't have a face-off when you get. If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.